And good morning. We're joined by U.S. Representative Pramila Jayapal. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Congratulations, by the way. Sort of a new beast, I imagine, in
D.C. It is.
I want to get right to it. You know, you have decided that you are not going to attend Donald Trump's inauguration tomorrow. What made you finally come to that determination? Because you're not alone.
Yes, and I've been thinking about it and carefully considered it and all of the pros and cons for going. But in the end, what I really felt, and I decided early last week that I was not going to go, was that I've received hundreds of phone calls, people talking to me, emails from people who genuinely are terrified about whether they're going to have a place here in this country with the next administration and afraid for what their future holds. And I felt like it was more important for me to be here with constituents in my district, talking to them and making a plan. So we are doing an immigration roundtable tomorrow. We'll be meeting with dreamers, immigrant rights activists, and then I'll fly to D.C. afterwards to march in the Women's March on Saturday. But I'll tell you that it was not an easy decision. There's nothing more that I would love to do than to be there for the inauguration if we had a president who was conducting himself according to the norms and traditions. So, you know, he has not released his tax returns. And when he gets sworn in on Friday, tomorrow, he may be the first president that's in violation of the Constitution from day one because of the emoluments clause of the Constitution, Article 1, Section 9, where we try very hard to make sure that anybody who's in power does not have any foreign interests, any other interests that are influencing his decisions.
In regards to his business ties. And I know that he has very much disputed the fact that he would be in violation of that clause. He's rolled out attorneys to dispute that fact. The decision to boycott the inauguration has irked some Republicans, not specifically you, but this growing list. And I know that some of them have said, look, you know, we didn't like President Obama and his policies. We weren't happy when he won, but we sucked it up and we went to the inauguration because that's part of the process. What do you say to those Republicans who are offended?
You know, I think it's really not about policies, agreeing with policies. If I disagreed with his policies alone, I would be there. But it is about something much more. He broke norms and traditions of every sort. And attending the inauguration is a norm and a tradition. But he has broken that through his campaign. And now in what he's doing as he goes into office, there are lawyers, legal experts from universities across the country, both Republican and Democrat from President George Bush's administration, who have said that if he does not sell his assets and put those assets in a blind trust, that he will be in violation of the Constitution. So I don't think he can have it both ways. He can't ask, and Republicans can't ask for everybody else to play by the norms and traditions, but he himself to not follow those. And I'll tell you something else. You know, we have not had a single hearing on anything that we voted on in the last 10 days. And I think this country desperately wants to be united. It wants to be healed. And the president and the leadership now of the House and the Senate, that is their charge, to start to make those motions to try to unite this country.
And I will certainly tell you, we are interested as well in how this plays out with Donald Trump and his business interests, whether giving it to his children is truly enough separation. I want to ask you a personal question. A lot has been made of Donald Trump's comments about women and his treatment of women. A lot has been made about his comments about immigrants. You happen to be both of those things, yes. A woman and an immigrant from India. For people who don't know, you came here alone at the age of 16 to attend university. For you, I imagine that his inauguration, in light of some of the comments and controversies over both of those things, is very personal.
It is personal, and it's personal both in terms of what it means for me as an immigrant woman to this country, but it's also personal in terms of what it means to so many others across the country. And so it is true that it was very difficult for me to imagine standing on that stage and cheering the inauguration of somebody who has really gone out of his way to demean people of color, immigrants, most recently John Lewis, a civil rights icon, and to take slight with anything that might be said, and yet to say the most outrageous things and expect people not to care. I don't think again, this is another instance where I don't think you can have it both ways, but it is personal to me. I'm a citizen, I am a United States Congress member, so I have a lot of privilege in my life, but I will say that for people in this district and the people I'm meeting with tomorrow, for women across this country, the idea that we could have somebody in the highest office who continues to just throw out insults as if they don't matter in 140 characters is really distressing.
But at the same time, here we are. Donald Trump will be sworn in on Friday. He will address the nation as the president of the United States. And I know you had said, I don't want to be up on that dais cheering. It would be disingenuous. But there will be a lot of Democrats there who also don't like Donald Trump. We are at a time when we are incredibly divided and we have so much vitriol as a country. And I have no doubt there'll be protests across the country tomorrow to ring in his inauguration. But what do you say to people who think that boycotting the election, not just going there, being part of the process, accepting defeat, is going to drive a deeper wedge into these divides that we have not only across the country, but here in our own state with people who've supported Trump?
Donald Trump is going to be our next president. I have not said anything to the contrary about that. I know there are some people that question his legitimacy, but I think, at this point, we are where we are. I will work with him if there are things that he puts forward that I think are in the interests of the 7th District and the American people. And I'm looking forward to that. I hope that happens. But I will say that I think it is, if he really wants to claim both moral and political legitimacy, then what he will need to do is get rid of his assets. I think he will need to call for an independent investigation of the election and foreign interference in the election. And I think it would be great if he apologized to Representative John Lewis. I think that would put him in a whole different category. And, if he did those 3 things, I might even turn around and go to the inauguration tomorrow.
You still have time. You could board a flight. Quick, another kind of personal question for you. You go through this campaign, you get elected, you are now sitting in the U.S. House of Representatives at a bizarre time for politics in our country. I don't think anyone can doubt that. Is this so far what you've expected it to be?
It is an incredible honor. It really is. And I think about coming here. You asked me about my personal story. Coming here at the age of 16 by myself. My parents had $5,000 in their bank account. They used the whole thing to send me here. And now to kind of come full circle, I went to Georgetown University undergrad.
You also worked on Wall Street,
I
which
did
I
work
would
on
say
Wall
is
Street.
full circle.
It
half
really
circle,
is. Wall Street, public health. I've had 3 careers in my life. But now to come back to Washington, D.C. as one of only about 11,000 people that have ever served in the U.S. House of Representatives is an amazing honor. And this district, everyone says this about their districts, but this district is an incredible place from which to legislate, represent, and so it feels fantastic. It is a strange time. Everybody has said that. I don't have anything to compare it to in terms of other Congresses, but the schedule that they've put before us, the fact that we've taken all these votes on things without a single hearing. I came from a minority in the Senate, but it is very different. In the House, they can pull any bill forward to the floor without a single hearing. And I think the American people don't realize that. But it's not the way you bring the country together if you don't even give the minority party an opportunity to weigh in. So that has been a shock to me.
All right, United States Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, we do appreciate your time and being here. You will not be in the inauguration, but I hope that as you head out to meet with your constituents in the coming days, we can sort of focus on this message of unity. And we might not like the outcome, you might not be happy with it, but where do we go from here?
Thank you so much, Brandy.
Thank you
appreciate
for your time.
being here.
Back to you guys.